Here we have AP Calculus AB problem. Okay, let's go to the question. The figure above shows the graph of the function f equals to 1 half times x negative to the whole square, and the graph of g, which is tangent to the graph of f at the point 4, 2. If h of x equals to f of g of x, what is h prime of 4? Okay, here we have the function h of x defined as the composition of two functions f and g, that is f of g of x. Okay, our aim is to find h prime of 4. That is, we have to get the first derivative of this function h of x, that is h prime of x, and then we have to plug in 4 for x. Okay, first let's get the derivative, the first derivative of this function h of x. When I find derivative of this h of x, it will become h prime of x. Okay, here on the right side we have composition of two functions f and g. Okay, when I find derivative of composition of two functions, what I have to do is, first I have to get derivative for the outer function f. When I find derivative of this f, it will be f prime of g of x. Okay, now I got the derivative of the outer function f. By chain rule, I have to further derivative of the inner function g of x. When I find derivative of this inner function g of x, it will be g prime of x. Okay, now I got the derivative of the function h of x, that is h prime of x. But our aim is to find the value of h prime of 4. That is, we have to plug in 4 for x over here. Let me do it. Then we get h prime of 4. H prime of 4 equals to, on the right side also we have to plug in 4 for x. Then we get g of 4 times g prime of 4. Okay, here g of 4. Now let's consider the functions f of x or g of x or h of x, whatever function. Whenever we consider the graph of the functions on xy plane, so this f of x and g of x will represent the y coordinate, that is the value of y. So this g of x equals to y, or we can write it as y equals to g of x. Okay, here we need g of 4. G of 4 means y equals to g of 4. That is, this g of 4 gives a value of y when x equals to 4. Okay, now we have to go to the graph of the function g and get the y coordinate when x equals to 4. Actually, the question says g is the tangent to the graph of f. So here we have the function g of x. This line is a graph of the function g of x. Okay, on the graph of this function g of x, I mean on this straight line, let's consider the point 4, 2 over here. When x equals to 4, y equals to 2. So that is the value of g of 4 is 2. That is the value of y coordinate when x equals to 4. Okay, now let me plug in 2 for this g of 4 over here. Then I'm getting h prime of 4 equals to f prime of. So the value of g of 4 is a y coordinate when x equals to 4 on the graph of g. So that is 2 times g prime of 4. Okay, here we have to get the value of f prime of 2 and g prime of 4. Then we have to multiply them to get the value of h prime of 4. Okay, now to get the value of f prime of 2, what we have to do is we need to find the first derivative of the function f. Once we get the first derivative, we have to plug in 2 for x to get the value of f prime of 2. Okay, now let me take the function f we have over here. That is f of x equals to 1 half times x negative 2 the whole square. Let's find the derivative of this one. When I find the derivative of this f of x, it will become f prime of x. Here it's a constant, it's a variable, both of them are multiplied. Whenever a constant and a variable multiplied, when we find derivative, we have to keep the constant as it is and get the derivative of the variable alone. Okay, here to get the derivative of this variable, first we have to do derivative for the exponent 2 using the power law of derivative. That is, we have to bring this exponent 2 in front of the variable. That is 2 times x negative 2, and we have to subtract 1 from this exponent 2. When I subtract 1 from this exponent 2, it will be just 1. Okay, so far I have completed derivative only for the exponent 2 using the power law of derivative. So by chain rule, I have to further derivative of this base x negative 2. So when I find derivative of this x with respect to x, it will be 1, and the derivative of this 2 is 0. Okay, here this 2 will cancel out, then we get f prime of x equals to, and so here whenever there is exponent 1, we can ignore it. We can simply write x negative 2 times 1 negative 0 is just 1. So we get f prime of x equals to x negative 2 times 1 is just x negative 2. Okay, now I got the first derivative of the function f of x, that is f prime of x. But our aim is to get the value of f prime of 2. That is, I have to plug in 2 for x over here. Let me plug in 2 for x. On the right side also I have to plug in 2 for x. When I plug in x is equal to 2 over here, then I'm getting 2 negative 2. Then I'm getting f prime of 2 equals to 2 negative 2 is 0. Okay, now I got the value of this f prime of 2, that is 0. Okay, now let me write the stuff over here. H prime of 4 equals to, now we can plug in 0 for this one. 0 times G prime of 4. Here I am not going to find the value for G prime of 4 because whatever value we have for G prime of 4, it will be multiplied by 0. When any value is multiplied by 0, the result is 0. So finally H prime of 4 equals to 0 times the value of G prime of 4 is 0. Okay, now I got the value of H prime of 4, it's equal to 0. We find this 0 in answer choice C. The correct answer choice for this question is C.